Metafix is a show that teaches you how to think in the metagame. I am not here to give you the answers, nor am I going to tell you how to win. Metafix teaches you how to play in the metagame and how to react around the metagame and what is in the metagame. If you're looking for the answers, try HC Realms, check the forums, they have all kinds of neat toys and tools and teams being brought up, and check the results of a lot of the ROC tournaments or any Worlds tournaments to see how teams played out and what teams were used for. I'm just here to help you think. Actually, now that you mention it, Amber, this episode does kind of... We have to redo that whole... Do we have to do Colossal Week again? Mm-hmm. We'll see. With that said, Colossal rules have changed, guys. And it's a whole new bald game. See what I did there? You got to prepare for a completely different set of problems that Colossals will be bringing. Originally, Colossals were at face value easy enough to deal with, but also had their difficulties. The way they functioned with elevated terrain was a little wacky. The way they functioned with elevated terrain in relation to outdoor blocking made it a little tricky to deal with. Map choices, some maps used to work a lot different than they do now. Let's be brutally honest. So I guess it's time to talk about what changes that have been made that will really affect those of us who are playing against a Colossal or are using a Colossal. The first thing that makes a difference is the map choice now. If you're playing as a Colossal, you're choosing outdoor. Because Colossals outdoors now ignore elevated terrain and outdoor blocking terrain. Ouch. To say the least, it's more streamlined and it's something to get around. But then what it means is, as a player, you kind of have to look at a Colossal across the board and say, is the map choice that I have going to give me enough bonuses against a Colossal? For instance, if you have a Banshee and you have a Ryut in your pocket, fantastic. How's that going to do for you when they can see over the hindering as much as or over the blocking as much as you can? As well, Colossals can now occupy multiple blocking terrain squares, or multiple elevations, which means that Ryut now loses a lot of the penalties that it gave teams with Colossals, as they are no longer able to, or no longer hindered by the fact that there's very few squares that they can occupy. Think about that for a second. With that said, another thing to consider is their new reach. A 3-square giant reach is nuts. Especially when you think about, let's take a look at Titano. Titano has an 11 movement with charge on his 250-point dial, which is a very viable dial in the metagame. I think I discussed this in my Wonder Woman episode. So he's got a 6th movement within which he can charge, and then 3 squares out in which he can make a close combat attack. That's a 9-square reach with a charge. That's nuts. Amber's giving me a face like, oh, that monkey's got reach. What's that? Yeah, he can reach, because he has to just draw a line of fire to the square. He ignores elevated terrain and the effects of it. He can just reach over the top of Ryu. Can you just imagine that monkey arm coming over the top? And it's an insane imagery to get, but it's something to consider. As well, another thing to consider is, say, Brimstone on the other side of elevated terrain is now going to lob his pulse wave with all kinds of uncaring. Over the building it goes. Kaboom in your face. Oh no. Was that enhanced pulse wave? That's a shame. So guys, the game has changed as far as dealing with Colossals. You have to take them inside again. Those of you who played in the early days knew that keeping them inside was a good idea. Mostly for a number of reasons. One, they can't see through see past indoor blocking terrain, which is, oh, thank goodness. And it'll still be able to hinder their movement to some degree. So those are some of the thoughts that you want to take into the metagame nowadays with Colossals. And I hope that helps you to some degree, because map is going to make a big difference on this. And I do have an episode, I think, coming up on maps redone or reborn or reconsidered, to say the least. I don't know when, but hopefully soon. With that said, thank you guys for watching. And don't forget, get some practice with these new Colossals, because they will help make your team go perfect. Practice makes your team better. Married with Clix is brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com. Check out the new premium site with MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. Check the link below. Trust me. Trying to remember that from me talking? Not going to help. You'll get awesome articles at $3 a month, with the first month being free, from amazing writers such as Paris Gordon, Easton Brock, Aaron Cantu. I'm even going to be contributing occasionally. And if you're familiar with the Meta Lab, check out some of Mike Payne's articles. So, check it out again, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders for your look into the minds of some of the greats.